worldwide phrebologist and international juke artist, Gary Burbank.
Hello, Bozo.
Hey, Gary, how's it going today?
I'm doing fine. Now, Bozo, you are in Inverness, Florida, right?
Close to that, yeah. Crystal River.
Crystal River? I didn't know you were in the town of Crystal River. I thought you were kind of between
We're
the two.
right in between, I'd say midway between Inverness and Crystal River.
Now, most people wouldn't know exactly where that is, but let's see.
Well, I don't tell people I live in Hernando because Hernando's nothing but rundown shacks and mobile homes.
Well, what do you expect? Do people think you'd actually have a house that didn't have wheels?
I checked on Earl's house, and
you checked on my
I was going
place?
to go over to Earl's house on the Stinky River, and all of his windows are blown out.
Oh, don't talk that way. So I have a little shack. I have a little shack on the Rainbow River. Bozo's only, it was about, I guess, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I get a phone call, and, are you live in Florida? I said, well, just south of Ocala. And he said, is anywhere near Hernando? I said, just 15 minutes down the road. He said, well, how you doing, neighbor? And I thought, oh, God.
There went the neighborhood.
This could be trouble. But anyway, so Bozo, the hurricane, where Bozo is, okay, it is, let's see, about 80 miles north of Tampa. And Charley is making its, they thought would come into Tampa Bay. It's still going to create some havoc in Tampa Bay, is it not?
I was watching TV a few minutes ago, and they were showing some video from Sarasota, actually live reporting, and it was just hardly raining there.
Yeah, at this point in time, I think. But, a little later, is it moving that way or what?
Nope, it's moving. It looks like it's moving directly toward Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda, and will probably work its way across the state. In fact, the mayor of Orlando has already declared that Orlando is going to have the worst storm, I think, in 40 years.
Okay, now where you are is almost northwest of Orlando, so you would be getting that left side of the Hurricane Charley, right?
Yeah,
which is not the most dangerous. So the most dangerous side of a hurricane is the right, isn't it the right side of it?
The backside, the backside of it.
Yeah, the backside, right side.
Because that would
if
be
you're the hurricane, it's your right side, yeah.
The back end of it would be the southwesterly winds because it's going counterclockwise, and the southwesterly winds is where you get the strong storm surge. And
I
it just
see,
blows
okay.
the water ashore. But right now we're just getting some light rain, no wind, no nothing.
Well, yeah, but see, it's just right now. I'm looking at it right now. And it's if it moves into Port Charlotte, will it still do a northward path then across the state?
They're saying it would just continue going northeast right across the state.
Northeast. That would be Orlando, wouldn't it? That would if it made that long northeastern trip, it would go right through Orlando at that point.
So this thing could pretty well burn itself out going across Florida and go out into the Atlantic, and it could very well turn into a Category 1 hurricane again and go right up into the Carolinas.
Yeah. Now, how far is, say, Port Charlotte from Orlando, would you say?
Probably about 130 miles.
Oh, no. I can't believe that. I thought it was further south than that. Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, something like that.
It's about 40 miles north of Fort Myers. Because remember that time it took me 4 hours to drive from Punta Gorda to your house.
Yeah, I know, but you were backed up in traffic. But maybe backed up in traffic, too, I guess.
And you have to pee every 10 miles.
Yeah, that's right, Bo. So we know that. So not making light of this whole thing, but you got if you have a hurricane party, you kind of have to. Are you having a hurricane party?
But there's a lot of people in Tampa, St. Pete, who are breathing a big sigh of relief.
Okay, I didn't know if it was going to be that beneficial to Tampa, St. Pete. But,
they're saying now that the folks, they evacuated all of St. Petersburg and Pinellas County. And they're now saying that those people can probably start returning home by nightfall tonight.
How about that? Will the Bengals are supposed to play a football game at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in that area. Didn't they already leave for Orlando? The Bengals were going to Orlando.
They flew into Orlando because the weather conditions were just looking like they were going to get real bad in Tampa.
Right.
But I would say about 3.5 hours ago, this hurricane just suddenly went about 2 degrees north and then made a 1 degree turn to the right. And I was watching the radar then. I said, this darn thing is going to go into Port Charlotte. And Lumpy says, oh, no, it's going to hit Tampa. And, after 20 years of doing a truck show and watching the weather, as I've done all this time, I'm not a meteorologist, But I'm watching this high-pressure band.
That means you won't try to give me a 10-day forecast, right?
Right. I'm watching a high-pressure system moved across Louisiana, and I said, that bad boy is going to go to the east, and it's certainly doing it right now.
Well, you know, if you track these things, a lot of people are hurricane trackers, and I know Bozo's into this kind of thing. So if it hits into Port Charlotte, what is the surge at this point? Is it 14, 15? Well, how many feet?
We're looking at 16 to 20-foot surges. If it goes right into Port Charlotte, it could very well hit 16 to 20 feet.
My God.
Yeah.
So I know that they were doing some evacuating. Did you hear? Did the people there take it as seriously as the people in Tampa, St. Pete did?
They're still saying there's some diehards, but for the most part, Gary, we've got about 2 million people. The entire west coast of Florida has got evacuation orders all the way up from Key West all the way up into the Panhandle. And there's roughly about 2 million people that evacuated. Most of them started evacuating out of Tampa yesterday, and they fled over to Orlando, figuring, okay, that's we're
it'd be the same place there, right?
And so, because all the tourists were leaving Orlando.
As the Bengals did when they left Cincinnati, not wanting to go to Tampa, St. Pete, they end up flying into Orlando, and so they've got to hunker down wherever they are right now because they will get the brunt. But it won't be the brunt of hurricane because it will have traveled, like you said, 130, 150 miles or something like that over land, which will take it down at least a couple of categories, wouldn't you think?
We're already seeing, it looks like some gale force winds hitting Orlando. I'm watching it on the radar.
It could already.
Oh, yeah. The eye of the storm, it looks like maybe is, I'd say, right there on the shore.
At Port Charlotte.
At Port Charlotte.
Now, explain where Port Charlotte is for people who don't really get that.
That's about 3 counties south of the Tampa-St. Pete area, Sarasota County. Then you get into, I think it's Lee and Charlotte County.
Okay. So it's north of Naples.
Yes. About 60 miles north of Naples.
So that would put Naples pretty much in harm's way, too.
Naples got hammered a little bit earlier today.
But when it comes inland, I mean, it's still getting that right side of the hurricane, the bad side, meaning they'll get a lot of water.
The storm surge right now is hitting the Fort Myers and Naples area.
Okay. So, I've got that one closet in my little shack there that's fortified to take all the stuff you need to go over there, Bozo.
Oh, okay.
You know where the key is, right?
You going to take the motorcycle out for a ride?
Yeah, that's what he wants.
Yeah, you want to go on a bike today? It'd be fun. Yeah, a whole lot of fun. You go a lot faster than you ever thought about.
Gary, you wouldn't believe what it's been like down here the past couple of days. I went to Walmart, and it looked like Earl and a bunch of his friends had gone in there and looted the place. The Supercenter, it was just looked like somebody had pillaged the whole store.
You mean the Walmart in Dunellen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And the Walmart in Inverness is the same way. And you go to any gas station yesterday, this morning, and even today, you try to get gas, and they're lined up out into the street. Everybody and his brother's got a big pickup truck. Lumpy watched one guy pump $200 worth of gas into a pickup.
How do you get $200? Well, he has
a
bunch of stuff in the back, I guess.
Leave the bed open.
I figured he must have been pumping it into cans in the bed of the truck to fill up a generator or something.
So you've got people that are waiting in line behind him wanting to kill him, I guess.
Yeah.
So you can't make an exact bet on this, I guess, but as you are a hurricane charter, you're saying it's coming into Port Charlotte, will make its way northeast. Right. And the people in Orlando, the people who evacuated those areas and went to what they thought were, and they are basically safe from a surge. I mean, you won't get a surge in Orlando. You won't get, in case people listening may have some friends on vacation in the area. The hotels are built pretty well there.
Sure.
And if you're in a tent or something, you might.
You don't want to be on a Ferris wheel or on a roller coaster.
And in fact, they're closing. They're closing Disney, and did they already close Disney?
They've already closed everything down there.
They have.
Yeah.
So those folks are basically hunkered down in the hotels or wherever, I guess.
The good news is because they were going to shut the power off in downtown Tampa like 2 hours before the storm was supposed to hit it. So now it looks like they're not going to turn the power off. They were going to shut down the Crystal River nuclear power plant 2 hours before the storm was supposed to hit here where we're at. And, once they shut that bad boy down, it takes about 48 hours to start it back up.
All right, well, how about would it be okay, Bozo? I know when I call Bozo, I heard Lumpy answer the phone in the background out here like, I'm retired, I'm trying to take a nap. But how about if I check with you in just a little while, maybe an hour or two? Is that okay?
Okay,
and we'll find some more stuff. All right, Bozo. Get you a quick nap. I'll call you back. Thank you, Bozo.
See you, Bozo.
Bye, Gary.
Take it easy. All right, Truckin Bozo. And Truckin Bozo still alive and well as you hear, and tracking hurricanes. And this is 700 WLW. You know, as Hurricane Charley kicks up to a Category 4, you can tell it's serious because Fox News is no longer broadcasting the trashing of Kerry's military record. They've actually turned to the hurricane. I think there's a little strip running underneath telling about his military record.
Don't forget John Kerry's a creep.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's going through there. But
so it jumped up to a Category 4.
Yeah, and no one expected that. I mean, at least from I've been watching the Weather Channel, and no one expected a Category 4. They were saying it's going to barely make a Category 3, which I don't know exactly what it is, but winds were at around 123. They said we had one more, maybe 125 as a Category 3, and you heard them talking about 145 mile per hour winds. Which means it just, in the last 3 hours, as Bozo said, it picked up that strong. And
what was the last Category 4 to hit the United States?
I'm not sure. I know that wasn't Andrew a Category 5? May have been a 4. Andrew may have been a 4, but I thought it was a 5.
Seems like
it was the nastiest, yeah. And so no one really has talked much about Port Charlotte because they only came into play with this thing a couple hours ago. You've been seeing, as we, yesterday talked to people, they were trying to exit Clearwater, getting into Tampa, or St. Pete, getting into Tampa, and then getting inland. One person said the car moved maybe 2 car lengths in an hour and a half or something like that. So people were backed up all over the place. Harry from Harry's Diner. Hi, Harry. How are you? Harry, are you there? I have plunked the magic twanger. I do not. Harry, are you there?
Hi, Garrish.
Doing fine. Now, you have some folks down around the area of Orlando?
No, I've got a daughter in Venice.
In Venice. Okay. Now, explain where Venice is now.
Venice is about 25 minutes south of Sarasota and about 20 minutes north of Port Charlotte.
Well, that's pretty close to right there where the eye is coming on land, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Right now they're getting hit with rain. They're talking about throwing a switch on the electricity here as soon as winds get up to whatever threshold. And the traffic trying to get from 41 inland right now is almost impossible.
Okay, now she's okay at this point, right, I guess?
Yeah, they've battened down pretty good. They've got everything covered with plywood at this point, but...
That's got to be a job. I mean, when you see this coming, and like Bozo said, I mean, there's a run on the Walmarts to get plywood, whatever they can get to cover up. And, I mean, it's a job to do that, and then, of course, take it down when it doesn't hit you. But you'd be glad to take it down and not be hit by it. But the folks there, the folks in that area of Venice, have they pretty much been prepared for this, do you think, Harry?
Well, not really, because they thought that it was going to hit farther north, and they were just going to catch the tail end of it. Now that the path has changed, they're scrambling to get things covered up pretty good at this point.
All right.
It seems unusual for usually they're more sure of the path, and it doesn't change so quickly. It seems unusual for that to happen when it's that close.
It's caught everybody in that area off guard, especially in the Port Charlotte area, because you can't get out of there.
No, Port Charlotte is almost it's accessible, but it's almost like the Keys as far as getting out of the Port Charlotte Bay, because it's only one road, right?
Yeah, well, 41 north and south, and it's split by 2 bridges going across Port Charlotte Harbor into Punta Gorda, and the roads that go inland towards 75 and Okeechobee farther inland are all 2-lane highways.
Yeah, so man, that's got to be tough. And you get those old folks driving so slow. At this point, maybe they sped up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Harry, for checking in. Good luck to your daughter, okay?
All right, Garrett. Thanks.
See you later. Let's go to Chuck, weather comment. Go ahead, Chuck. Something to help us out on this thing.
Yeah.
I understand this.
Hurricane Andrew was a Category 5 when it hit the Everglades.
Yeah, okay, a Category 5. That's kind of what I thought.
Yes, it was.
So that is how high are the winds for a Category 5, do you know?
I would say that's be excess of 155 miles an hour.
Okay. Yeah, because 4, it's at 145 now. It is a Category 4.
And I believe they go up every 10 knots or 10 miles. It all depends on where it's at.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing, isn't it?
That's where it goes, so yeah.
When's that fast?
But I think we were all shocked when it said, well, it's 125 miles an hour. It's going to be barely a Category 3, and then 90 minutes later,
Man,
What?
it's up to Category 4. You don't believe that?
Wow.
Yeah,
I know.
amazing. All right, Chuck, thank you very much. Let me get one more quick call. Mike, a quick comment here. Go ahead.
Gary, my mother-in-law's a nurse, and she was called in for lock-in at Sarasota Memorial early this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was seeing on the Weather Channel's website, Sarasota's going to have 95-mile-an-hour winds. That's pretty hefty.
Now, when did you see this? Now,
But just going through and looking at the hourly forecast, you can call specific zip codes or cities on the Weather Channel's website.
yeah, you can get that then. Okay,
That's
so 95-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah,
That would be like a Category 1, I guess. Would that be a Category 1 hurricane or a Category 2 or something like that?
That's pretty heavy, though.
Well, it could have been 150 or 145 anyway if it gone
I grew
further
up in
north.
South Texas, and we bailed out during Hurricane Beulah when I was a kid in the late '60s. The water's the big problem.
Yeah, it can be the worst part.
This could be a lot of flooding. It's already wet. It's just very serious.
Been raining a lot. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
All right. Yes, that's the hardest part. Is Florida. Beginning of the year looked like it was going to be dry for a lot of the time, but suddenly about 2 months ago it started raining a lot every day, and now there's really not a lot of places for it to go. This is more news coming up on Charlie on 700 WLW News. This is 700 WLW. 700 WLW. Seggy, the Bengals have made their way into Orlando, which, according to the Truckin Bozo, our meteorologist,
it doesn't get any better than the Bozo.
No, and Hurricane Tracker, Bozo
He's our weather authority.
That Orlando's about to get the brunt of all of this. Although, no, I won't say the brunt, but they're in the path now where they weren't before.
I'm sure Brad and Lapp and Yid are all just in that room and probably in that Ritz-Carlton room down there in Orlando and Suite 5785.
Mm-hmm. In case anybody wants to get a call.
Bottles of beer on the wall.
Yeah, they're having a hurricane party. They don't have to play Saturday, so
and probably Marvin's throwing the party. All the players are there. Probably Carson Palmer's dancing around. So I mean, they probably trading old football stories. So
get underneath a table like Bernard Shaw in Baghdad.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, they're probably
is Yid called? Why doesn't he? You need to get a hold of Yid. Maybe get a report from Yid from Orlando and get some weather forecasting.
He's ripped.
See, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Glad you said that.
You get Yid on the phone. Hi guys.
Well, the thing of it is, there's nothing open. Everything's closed down there, so they can't. He said he was losing. he was going to go broke if it was going to be $5 beers at the bar.
Oh man, that's right. The hotel, yeah. Those little mini bars will be empty, and everybody, all the Bengals, as much money as they make, they'll be broke. He took one trip for that.
New contracts.
I got somebody. Wait, I get a report on the Bengals, and this is Wicker Man. Wicker Man, you got something? Someone in Orlando, right?
How's it going today?
Good, fine, thanks.
It's Wicker Man, Old Town Wicker in Westchester. Hey, Gary, I actually have a treat for you in the line. I just three-wayed my sister in Orlando.
Yeah?
She's on the line with me. She lives in Claremont, Florida, northwest of Orlando.
I know exactly where it is, yeah.
She's going to tell you about this first feeder band that just came through. Go ahead, Miss Terry.
All right. Hey,
Terry,
how you doing today?
hi, Terry. Thanks for coming on with us. We're worried about our Bengals in Orlando. They're hunkered down at the Ritz-Carlton. What was that room number, by the way?
So take them some sandwiches.
They'll be okay at the Ritz-Carlton. They'll take good care of them.
You think so? That they actually built that hotel with some steel?
I'd say.
And all that?
Just a little bit.
Maybe
they should have done Disney World instead, but I think they'll be okay.
Well, Disney World's closed up, isn't it?
That's all right. They're still taking care of all the resort guests.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, Gary, she works for Disney. Terry, are you guys off work now?
Yeah, they actually called me at 10 o'clock this morning and tell me that my restaurant wasn't going to be open, which was the Flying Fish Cafe on the boardwalk there at Disney World.
Okay, so that's all done then. Okay, so everybody's...
Yeah, they have huge glass windows.
So the Bengals can't go to Disney World. They're stuck in the hotel room,
Can't go to
drinking
Busch
out of the
Gardens,
mini bar.
Can't dine with poo.
Universal Studios is closed.
How about the weather conditions, Terry? What do you have?
The weather conditions, we just had a band go through. We had major storms. We actually have tornado warnings in our area till about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And I'd say it was 50-mile-per-hour winds down in Orlando, what they were reporting.
Wow.
And those are just some of the different bands that were coming through.
Hey, that's not the big brunt of the whole thing. What time do they expect Charlie to make its way into the Orlando area?
Oh, into the Orlando area, they're predicting about 9 o'clock.
About 9 o'clock. o'clock tonight.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes away of Port Charlotte right now. Port Charlotte, actually, along the beaches, is definitely getting hit.
Yeah.
And, they still haven't even seen the main part of it. They're predicting in another 20 minutes that they should have the eye over them and all that good
All right,
stuff.
well, Terry, thank you so much for coming on. And batten down, and good luck to you, okay?
Batten down. Everything's put away. We're ready to go. My first stop today was the liquor store. Had to make sure I had a hurricane.
You're all set. All right, thank you so much for calling. Wicked Man, thank you very much, okay?
welcome, guys.
All right, see you later. We have monitors of about every network. Yeah, they've all switched to Charley. That's the topic, a major story going right now as Hurricane Charley just made that quick turn to the east, and somehow I can't believe that somehow it went from 122 mile per hour winds. The last I heard, they were talking maybe up a couple of miles an hour, making it to a Category 3. And then I disappeared, 2 or 3 hours later, turn on the TV, it's a Category 4. And a Category 4 is one dangerous hurricane. And I have seen very little, actually nothing, from Port Charlotte itself. And as an earlier caller said, it's very tough to get out of Port Charlotte. And if the people there were thinking it was going to hit north, and everyone did about this time yesterday, and even early today, they had orders to evacuate in that area. But many people I know, I read one thing about one person that said that, and it was in that area. He said, I've been through 100 mile an hour, 125 mile an hour winds, never been through 150. If he goes up to that, then I'll get out. But did he have a chance to get out at that point? I mean, if you waited until the last second like that, it's got to be tough to get out.
Especially when it changes at the last minute.
And then again, I guess we're not going to get a lot of news from within Port Charlotte. How can you get in at this point if no one else can get out?
Yeah, you can't send your news van in.
No, the news vans are all, I guess surrounding it.
High-profile vehicles. I can't believe with all the you lived in New Orleans and you have your shack in Florida and you've never been through a hurricane?
Never been through a hurricane. I've always been.
How do you manage that?
I don't know. I've always somehow missed it. And you've been through a hurricane. You were in Puerto Rico once in a hurricane.
Yeah, it was a pretty wimpy hurricane.
We've had hurricane parties, but it was in lieu of no hurricane. I mean, we thought, well, let's have a hurricane party.
It's been too long without a hurricane.
Yeah, and in New Orleans a lot. And so I've been around when there were hurricanes in the Gulf, but they didn't come in that area. But how was yours at Puerto Rico when you went through?
It was very mild.
So you didn't go through a whole lot.
Yeah, we were. Well, we had to evacuate our hotel, but then we went to another one that also had a bar, so everything was fine.
Well, let me go to Jim on the phone. Hey, Jim. Since this is a big story here, Jim, you got a weather comment?
Well, ESPN is reporting that Brad Johansson is crying like a little schoolgirl due to the high winds in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
But they're now reporting since he seeks refuge behind Dave Lapham, he's much better.
Then it's okay. Dave can stop the wind, probably. It'd be pretty tough for. I think it's going to take more than 150 mile an hour winds to move Dave Lapham.
In fact, he should shackle himself to Lapham.
That's it. Yeah, the entire team could do that.
Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, it's Yid was saying that he's down there. He's in the hotel. As the Bengals, made it to the Ritz-Carlton. Are they really staying at the Ritz-Carlton? I don't know.
That's what was reported.
Okay, but he said that you look out the window, nothing is open, and he's paying $5 for a beer. And he doesn't like that at all.
Got to travel with your own.
That's all he can do. Yeah, Jerry, hello. You've talked to your son who's in Fort Myers, right?
Yes, sir. He's down there for the summer. They're staying in a condo. He's a student at the College of Mount St. Joe down there doing some clinicals this summer. And we just visited last week, and he was joking, boy, I'd like to see a tropical storm or a hurricane sometime before I come home. He didn't realize it was going to be this bad or even that it was going to happen. Spoke with him about 5 minutes ago. He said there's winds of about 80 miles per hour, raining very hard. I'm looking at it here on the internet at work, and it looks like it's turning north a little bit as it approaches land, at least the eye, and should pass north of Fort Myers and Captiva Island and probably hit Port Charlotte. But power's out where he's at. He's just got his cell phone. They're at him and his friend. They're in the bathroom. They got a mattress to pull over them if they need it.
Well, that's the right thing to do. They're doing exactly the right thing, yeah.
Right, and, he said everybody in the condo this morning said, oh, geez, we thought it was going to hit Tampa. Maybe we should have left town, but...
Were they asked to evacuate earlier and decided not to?
No, not at all, because I think everybody thought it was going to go further north toward Tampa Bay, and no, he said even on the news they were not saying get out of town, just the barrier islands, of course. He's about 5 miles inland, so hopefully that'll help a little bit.
Yeah, he'll be okay. Now, you do get that surge, I guess, if you're going to be south of where it goes in, you'll get some kind of a surge. But what floor is he on?
They're on the ground level. It's a two-level condo, so they're on the ground level. So my wife just called me from home and said they're talking 18-foot surges in the beach area. So she thought that might hit them, and I said, well, I don't think that.
They're a little too far south, I think, for that.
Right. But anyway, that's the update. And if I get anything more in the next 15 minutes or so, I might try to give you a call back.
I would appreciate you doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Let me take a break. We'll get a look at traffic, and we'll come right back. We'll do some more talk about this. This seems to really have turned folks around. No one expected a Category 4 out of Charley. I mean, when they first started talking about it, it's not that bad of a storm. It may come this way. And then suddenly Charley just gained plenty of momentum. And heading into Port Charlotte, as I said, not much word from there. But then again, you can't expect a lot of word from that place because no way in and out. All right, let's see. Back to weather again. And let me get a couple of phone calls. Here's someone whose mom is in Orlando. Right, Chad?
No, I'm actually in Cincinnati.
Okay, now your mom is in Orlando.
Yeah,
right?
My mom and my sister in Claremont, where that other lady was. My sister works in Orlando at a bar called the Ale House. And I just got the phone with her. They're staying open until 2 o'clock tonight.
We need to get word to Yid about, I mean, are their beer cheaper than $5?
From what I hear, yeah. I think it's like around $2.50, $2.75.
Okay, so the Yid Man and some of the Bengals evidently want to find someplace.
Yeah, well, just tell them not to go until after 6, because that's when her shift is off, and she wants to get home by the time the hurricane hits her. So.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So they're going to wait for the next person to come on. And
You're right. Just don't wait till 6, and then that's all fine.
All right. Well, thank you for the info. Okay?
Not a problem.
See you later. And let me get James on. James, you've got a family in the hurricane area. Where's the family located?
My mother lives on Pine Island.
Whoa.
That's just north of Sanibel.
Uh-huh.
And I got a brother in Cape Coral. That the Corps of Army Engineers built Cape Coral years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I got a cousin north Fort Myers, and I hope they're all safe. I haven't heard from my mom, but she was leaving. They was to evacuate the island.
Oh, so she did leave then, right?
Oh, yeah, they have to leave the island. Pine Island is the bigger island in Sanibel. It sits north and south of Sanibel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly farmland, and there's 2 big cities, well, fairly big towns on Pineland.
And you haven't heard from anybody yet?
No, I tried to call my brother. He lives in Cape Coral, him and his wife, and they work down there. And I called and left a message.
Uh-huh.
But they might even be heading up there to Cincinnati to my other brothers. He lives in White Oak.
Be a little safer right now in Cincinnati, I think.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. We can start reporting Cincinnati as a safe city at this point.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
All right, thank you, James. Thank you for checking in, and good luck to your family, okay?
Yeah, we're going down there Labor Day, hopefully, so hope it's cleaned up.
Right.
Thanks, Derek.
Okay. See you later, okay. Whew. Category 4, they're saying. Of course, that'll drop pretty quick after getting out.
Well, however, if you notice, the reporter is wearing a poncho with a hood.
Yeah, he's letting you know, but behind him, nothing is happening. But I'm not sure where he is. We're going to keep you up on Hurricane Charley. The Truckin Bozo lives in Hernando, which is near Inverness, which is near Crystal River,
Soon to
which
be
is
renamed
about 80 miles north of Tampa. And they certainly expected to do it. Bozo is a hurricane tracker. I mean, he's checked this thing every inch of the way. In fact, Bozo predicted it would hit Port Charlotte before you saw it on the Weather Channel. So I'm going to talk to Bozo coming up about that and see how he's faring down there, too, and everybody else. The Bengals, in the meantime, have flown into Orlando. And the story is kind of strange because they went to Orlando to avoid the situation in Tampa. And according to Bozo and some other reports you've seen on TV, the storm is headed in, of course, across Port Charlotte. And then as it makes its way north, it will hit directly into Orlando. By that point, though, it should have dissipated quite a bit. I mean, headed up the state that far. But it will still produce some storms and that kind of thing. So we'll keep you up on that. Meanwhile, let's take a look at traffic on 700 W. I said earlier, it must be a big story because every single TV station, all the news stations we have on the monitor, all are covering Charley. And even Fox. Fox is covering Charlie. They've gotten away from trashing Carrie for a moment. They do run a chyron underneath the screen saying, Carrie blows like the hurricane. So, I mean, just for the regular viewers. That's Bozo laughing in the background. So, Truckin Bozo is himself in, let me try to explain. I tried to do this earlier, in Inverness, near Hernando. Yeah, that's Ted Williams, in fact. If you've been to the Ted Williams Museum, you live, I'd say about, not 200 yards from Ted Williams' house.
I sweep the floors there every night.
Yeah, used to do that, yeah. And so anyway, okay, Bozo, you've been tracking this thing, and you've been on top of it. We were kind of concerned because I have a little shack on the Rainbow River, you know, and Bozo takes care of that for me sometime. He
sweeps the floors there, too?
Yeah, he sweeps the floors. Bozo's got, listen, when Bozo retired, I mean, he didn't want to quit and just do nothing. So he does something. Bozo, tell me, how's it looking these days?
Well, you know that picture you saw a few minutes ago that you were talking about? It looked like a port and the water wasn't doing a thing. Mm-hmm. That's the eye of the storm passing over Port Charlotte right now.
Is that the eye of the storm? Now, I didn't know they were getting any information from Port Charlotte because they were talking about how there was, 41 is the only road going out of there if you're out of the island there. And people were kind of hunkered down at that point.
There was a guy on last night who was warning the people in Tampa, Don Germais, and he was doing a report from Port Charlotte talking about the times they've been hit, and he was telling everybody, that if this thing comes into Tampa Bay, you folks are going to be, if you're staying in your home, you're going to wish you'd left. And then I got a thing from Don a little while ago. Listen a little bit of this. He's talking here and trying to give an explanation of what's going on from Port Charlotte.
Okay.
Look at tropical storm force winds from Hurricane Charley right there. Half the bridge is obliterated. You can't see it because of all the wind and rain. We are very, very strong gusty winds out there. And again, we wanted to make sure you saw these pictures. We hope to bring you back soon to show you some more video.
And that was the last report he gave. And the bridge he's speaking of is the one that connects Port Charlotte with Punta Gorda, and the visibility is so bad the folks in Port Charlotte can't get over the bridge to get to Punta Gorda, then get out of town.
Yeah, because, if the only time they could have done that was before it made that hard right. And the weird thing about that, Bozo, that hurricane was barely a Class 3.
Yeah.
And that's, 125, 124 miles an hour, something like that. And then over a period of a couple of hours, they thought maybe 1 or 2 more miles per hour, it gets to Class 3. Next thing you know, 145 mile per hour winds. And it's at a Class 4 right now, Class 4.
Class 4, yeah.
Which is just under Hurricane Andrew, which came in as a Class 5.
Right. Well, it was like 200 mile an hour when it hit the National Weather Service in Coconut Grove. But I'm looking right here, and they're saying it'll go out across right through Disney World about 9 to 10 tonight, then out into the Atlantic. And guess where it's going to land next?
I could take a wild guess and say Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah.
Tomorrow morning.
Now, will it? Are they talking about it gaining some strength once it gets out into the Atlantic again? Because once it gets to Orlando, you got to figure. I mean, we have people we've heard from that have friends who live and have friends who are visiting Orlando area. It will not be a Class 4 by the time it gets to Orlando, I assume.
No, 75 mile an hour is what they're predicting for
Okay,
Orlando,
that's barely a Class 1. Then. That's a Class 1 at that point. But then again, that still can produce some havoc. But it's not nearly as life-threatening as I guess the people at Port Charlotte have had as it's moved in there.
It's been a mess in Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda, and everybody was caught completely by surprise. And you did make a comment earlier. We were the first radio station in the country to say that it was going to hit Port Charlotte because everybody was saying, no, it's going to hit Tampa.
And this all the station's in Florida because Bozo's down there tracking this thing. Mm-hmm. And well, with all your experience with the weather, and doing the trucking show for all those years, then you got to think that you took it pretty seriously. You sat down and you said, I think earlier on, it's going into Port Charlotte.
I think I said that around 12:30 this afternoon on Willie's show.
Yeah, with Willie. And sure enough, it's exactly what it did, and it took all the people down there by surprise, especially the people in Port Charlotte. They knew they had a chance of getting it. They knew they would get part of it, but they didn't think they were going to get the actual, eye of the hurricane, right in the middle coming across there.
Well, you'd be surprised to know how many people listen to you in the afternoons on the Internet connection. I mean, they're locked and loaded. I mean, they're listening.
And so, good. I'm glad that Bozo was here to give you the advice. I hope enough people got out of Port Charlotte. I know many people didn't at that point. But that's not to say that it's all, doom and destruction for these people, because, I mean, they have places they can go. And they had enough time, I think, to make some preparations. And let's hope that enough people did that, right, Bozo?
That's all we can hope for. Like you said, all of the southwestern coast of Florida was ordered evacuated. I know Sanibel Island, they told them to get off of that island 2 days ago. So you figure a lot of the people that were in Port Charlotte would have known, hey, we better get out of here. Even if it doesn't come ashore here, we're still going to get flooding. Mm-hmm. And the worst is yet to come for Port Charlotte, because as the eye of the storm moves inland, the backside of the storm's going to hit, and that's when they're going to get the storm surge.
Oh, is that when the surge hits? I wondered about that. I didn't realize it happened on the back end.
Right. Yeah, well, this time it does, because the back end is the wind coming out of the southwest, and it pulls the ocean right into that bay.
Mm-hmm. Bozo, can you hold on? Let's take a break and come back and talk a little more to you about this, okay? It's Gary Burbank again, joined by the Truckin Bozo via his ISDN line and his little studio there in Inverness, Florida, in the house. And Bozo, how are you?
Pretty good.
Okay, Bozo, now we've talked about what's happening down there. We'll get right back to that. But people up a little further north who expected to get the brunt in Tampa, St. Pete, and you're about 80 miles north of that, off of Crystal River.
Right.
How's it looking there?
We're getting some cloud cover, and it's showing some light rain along. But what's happening is the effects of the hurricane to the south is basically pulling all of the weather out of the northern reaches and pulling it down south. Now, this will all start to fall apart in the next few hours. I'm looking here at one radar scan right now. It shows that 4 inches of rain has already fallen in Punta Gorda, Florida, and Port Charlotte. But then, surprisingly, over at Cape Canaveral, they've got 4 inches of rain that's fallen there. And conceivably by 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, when the storm reaches there, it probably won't even have an eye any longer. But they could get anywhere from 8 to 12 inches in Orlando and Cape Canaveral.
Yeah, they were talking earlier, in fact, you mentioned this, that in Orlando they had gale winds at that point. This was before the storm even hit shore.
Yeah, that was some of the stuff that goes out ahead of a hurricane usually happens that way. It'll get out there a couple of 100 miles, and I'm still looking at heavy rain showers right now in Orlando, even though the eye of the storm, and there still is an eye right on the northern end, sort of the northeastern end of Port Charlotte, and it's starting to move north. But like I said, over the next few hours, this storm will basically, the eye will cave in. It'll no longer be a hurricane, but at that point, instead of being concentrated in a round ball, it'll just sort of spread out all over every place in southern Florida.
Okay, now we were concerned, too, in Cincinnati about, the Bengals decided, well, we can't go to Tampa St. Pete. That game has been, by the way, not canceled, but called off until maybe, Monday they're talking about now?
Monday? At the earliest, yeah. And as a matter of fact, they've gotten a half inch of rain in Tampa, and that's it.
And that's all so far. They'll get some more, but will they get a surge in the Tampa Bay area?
Maybe a couple of feet, maybe 5 feet, something like that.
But nothing near the 20 feet they talked about, possibly.
No.
And they were talking 20 feet when it was a Category 3.
Right.
So I can't imagine. And I just saw a reporter, I think he was in Fort Myers, or maybe Port Charlotte. No, I think it was Fort Myers. No, it was Charlotte. It was Port Charlotte. And he was standing there, and he was doing his report, and all of a sudden some wind gust came along, and he lost his something, and it just went dark, and they said, well, we've lost our feed. I think you lost your reporter.
Don Grimace. He's from ABC, and he's been there for a couple of days, and the wind keeps rocking his satellite truck, and he loses connection.
Well, yeah, they could have been in. These guys, it's amazing to watch these guys standing out there, right there in the brunt of everything, where they've told everyone to evacuate. I mean, do they think that somehow they have a Superman suit underneath the clothes and it won't affect them? I don't really understand. I know our right to know supersedes our right to exist, but on the other hand, I don't want to see this guy blown out into the water or something. Will they actually?
Yeah, you do.
Actually, I do want to see that. Yeah.
You want to see that? That's what you're watching.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I want to see. At least he has some swimmy zones, a little swim.
I just got a call from Dave.
Announcer Dave?
Yes, Announcer Dave. Crazy Dave.
Now, see, Dave is like worst-case scenario anywhere. I call Dave, well, yeah, it's not coming here, but, man, hurricanes, hurricanes, tornadoes everywhere, tornadoes. Has there been one tornado spotted, Dave? Oh, no, not yet, but they're everywhere.
Dave just called me, and he said to let you know that everything's okay, that as soon as they get the house towed back on land.
Oh, shut up. So things are okay in the area of where you guys are in Hernando and all
we're
that.
Fine.
Okay, Bozo, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're retired. I called it earlier today, and Bozo said, I heard in the background when I talked to Lumpy, I'm trying to be retired and take a nap here. But I know you're not napping. You're checking this thing out. Our hurricane tracker, the Truckin Bozo. Thanks, Bozo.
See you later, Gary.
Okay, take it easy. This is the home of the Red 700 WLW, Cincinnati.
This is the BBC.
We got to nip it in the bud.
700 WLW.